great. Hey, we're live, man. Monday morning, we're live.
We're old as hell. Oh man, I'm glitchy. I'm slow.
You're good. Just talk through it and it'll catch up. Hopefully you have things closed out or you forgot to do that.
I did. I forgot to do that. I'm doing that right now. Everyone calm down.
Good morning, everybody. Those of you who are going to be joining us on Monday morning. Probably should have told more people about it, to be honest.
What do you mean told more people? We announced it on the show. Who else do we need to tell?
Yeah, we don't really talk on social much anymore, do we? It's hard to tell other people.
We told everyone we possibly could.
I need to send an email out. The fact about this. Lots of people gave me their emails for the show and events and things like that. I should say hello.
Do I look okay? Like I'm very glitchy. Like I'm seeing myself and I'm like,
yeah, why don't you jump out and then come right back in and then I'll try to fix it. Good morning, everybody. Monday morning. Yankees suck, got swept. Perfect timing for us to switch from Thursday to Monday so that we have this and only this to talk about. But yeah, there's some got some gripes. Julio, good morning. Manuel, good morning. Gonna switch us so we're looking at the right nameplates. Now you're not glitchy.
I'm better. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Bronx Pinstripe Show. We move it to Monday, Scott. The Yankees go out and get swept in Fenway. I don't know if it's a good thing we're talking right after the series or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it. Personally, I think you know my views.
It's a good thing, man. It's a good thing. We need to talk about this. This is the exact reason why we switched from Thursdays. Thursdays just felt disconnected, to be honest. It felt like, middle of the work week. We're trying to really react to the primary games. Like the majority of the high profile games are on the weekend. So by the time we're talking about them on Thursday, it's like a distant memory. And it's hard to be emotional about the weekend. And the one thing, if you've watched this show for any amount of time, is that I feel like we live on the emotion of what the team is doing. We always have. We've always been emotional fans that talk about it, and it's very difficult to do that when you're 3 days removed from what just happened. So the Yankees got swept, and I'm glad we can talk about it because it becomes more of a therapy session for me. You get to bitch about the things that went wrong, but it just happened. So yeah, welcome to Monday.
Talk about emotions of it.
Yeah.
What's your emotion after that series? Because I'll let you go first.
It's hard for me to say that because in the moment I'm watching this, it's a little bit of a numb feeling because nothing was happening on the offensive side at all, and you're just looking at these strikeouts and just they're mounting up and stacking up. But we're used to that. We've been used to that for a while now, and I was trying to talk shit to my friends who are Red Sox fans, and even they were like not giving me back what I wanted. Even after we got swept, I sent them a text. I was like, "You need to talk shit to me right now. Like, what is
I need to feel something.
What is wrong with you?"
So let me
get in my cranium. Like, say that we suck. You struck out Judge 9 times. Like, say it.
Well, they were just flabbergasted about the Devers trade. So here, Yankees bats go silent. If you go back to the last game in Kansas City where they only scored 1 run, like the bats have been absolutely non-existent for 4+ games. It's frustrating, certainly frustrating, but that's baseball, Susan. Like bats can go quiet. Judge striking out 9 times in a weekend, just completely crushing. He came up in a lot of big spots. Yes, he hit the home run off of Crochet on Friday. That was a lot of fun. Other than that, he looked horrible, like the worst you've seen him look in a long, long time. Okay, Judge was hitting basically 400 all season, so cut him some slack. The fact they made the same damn base running mistake 3 games in a row in close games is so beyond irritating. It pisses me off because only under an Aaron Boone coach team can these dumbasses make the same freaking base running mistake 3 consecutive games. No coaching, no learning from your mistakes, no accountability. Just, keep going out there and doing your thing. Don't try and change anything. Volpe trying to steal third base in extra innings. Why? How about just move the runner over with a ground ball or a bunt and score a run?
That's not a Volpe thing. I mean, we can talk.
I'm not. No. I'm not.
That's a team organizational thing.
Sorry, I'm just calling out that it was Volpe. That's not necessarily a Volpe thing. That is an organizational flaw in their thinking.
And that's also one of your three base. That's one of the three, is it not?
What?
The Volpe getting caught at third.
Yes.
Yeah, but again,
making the first out in extra innings at third base is unacceptable.
I understand that, but I'm saying, yeah, okay. But that is to me more of a decision that was made by
That's a team decision. That's a coaching decision. That's because after the game he said, "Hell yeah, we want Volpe getting on third base there." Then bunt him over, get a fly ball. Like, to actually try and manufacture a run. Teach your guys, coach your guys to manufacture a run.
I want to frame that conversation a little bit better too, and like spend a little bit more time on it, because I got some things to say about that as well, and I know you do too. So let's
move on to the next one, where Jason Dominguez said he lost track of the count.
Yeah,
and gets picked off second base in a key spot late in that game, in a one-run game. He lost track of the count.
He lost track of the outs.
Lost track of everything. Remember a couple weeks ago I said, I'm afraid that Jason Dominguez has a little Gleyber Torres in him. Showed up right there. And then on Sunday, the cherry on top, Ben Rice just falling asleep at second base. Where are you going, Ben Rice? Yeah. Just gets picked off. Not even on a good move. Just the catcher gave a signal to the pitcher, like, this dude's veering off. He does a turnaround step off. Ben Rice is caught with his dick in his hand.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
That is it is when you can't score runs via hitting the ball, and you make those mistakes on the base path, it just doubles the fury of the emotion. But going back to the last game in Kansas City, that was Boone sat everybody in that game, right? Like, I mean, Judge, was that the first time Judge sat all year?
Yes. And that was a lineup that you get after you have a champagne celebration for clinching the division. There was like all the backups in the lineup.
Yeah. So Judge sits, and then, after the first time he sits, Keith pointed this out in our text, like, this is when he goes, 1 for 10 or 1 for 11 in the series, with obviously the one being that home run off of Crochet. But yeah, the bats, when you don't have Aaron Judge out there, and he's certainly not seeing the ball like he has all season long. And again, like you said, this is going to come. This is going to happen. You can't keep this up for 162 games. It's just not. It's not realistic. But you're looking at when Judge gets vulnerable, he gets vulnerable in this exact way. The breaking pitch outside, he's just not seeing it as well, and then he starts swinging through things because he's not locked into his zones. But again, like, that's just going to happen. The rest of the team needs to pick this man up in that case, and they just that's a massive issue. There are so many strikeouts, there are so many missed opportunities. Then you add in the base path issues and blunders. That is a recipe for a team that has a lot of, quote, talent and good on paper and has a good record and does beat up on a lot of bad teams. But when push comes to shove, it's exactly what the Dodgers were talking about last year. They'll find ways to lose. They'll find the opportunities to not win a game because they have massive holes, not only in the offensive side, but just in the fundamentals.
It's the mentals. I mean,
you're looking at this team as well, who just played the Red Sox, who got swept by the Red Sox. Coming into this, we were talking about it last week because we just played the Red Sox again last weekend. They had lost 17 one-run games. What did they do in the first 2 games? They won the games. They won 2 one-run games, and they had opportunities to. I'm sorry, they won run, but they had the opportunity to win close games, and they took advantage of it. And that is a big deal. The first game 2-1. I was texting you joking, like, oh, it was 1-0. Like, are they going to blow it? Are they going to blow it? Is the bad team going to blow it? It's a 1-run game. And then boom, Judge hits that home run. The next day, 4-3, they win the close game. Then it was a 2-run game that they won. So it's like, I do expect that stuff to come around, but when you're playing another team that seems to give things away, those 1-run games are going to go the other way.
I mean, it's not like the Yankees had chances in all of these games and kind of ran themselves out of scoring opportunities. And when you're already struggling with the bats, you can't give up outs on the bases. Was it 23 or 24? They made the most outs on the bases out of any major league team, right?
It's a Boone era thing.
Yeah. It's
It's a boot.
It's lack of coaching. Did you see Boone's expression on his face when Ben Rice was running off the field after he got picked off yesterday?
No,
Because I knew
not.
you might have been listening at that point. I was listening, and so I was driving home yesterday afternoon from seeing my parents this weekend with the family.
Happy
So
Father's Day to all the
Happy Father's
dads out there.
Happy Father's Day. So we were driving home, so I was listening to that, but I wanted to go back and see things, and they showed Boone's expression on his face, and I actually kind of give him a little bit of credit because he kind of gave this stare at Ben Rice like, you've got to be kidding me, but he didn't say anything, and I don't know if he sort of went, he's never going to air out a player in public. That's not going to be a Boone
Unless your name is
thing.
Gleyber Torres, yeah.
But that's not going to be a Boone thing. He's never going to scream at a guy on the duck. He's not going to pull a Billy Martin on anyone.
Right.
So I don't know what was said, if anything was said underneath, the tunnel or whatever. But he did give him an expression like, you've got to be effing kidding me. But my problem isn't necessarily like, I'm not saying Boone doesn't care that they're making mistakes. I mean, I'm not stupid. Obviously, he cares. But what are they doing to implement change? Like it's not like this is just a recent mistake. It's not like, one-offs happen. Like this, like you said, the Boone era has been defined by fundamental mistakes, outs on the bases, dumb little things.
That's not something you want to get defined for your managerial career, to be honest. That's like one of the lowest. If I'm looking for like a ranking of things that I don't want to be known for, lack of fundamentals and discipline on my baseball team is like top of the list.
I just don't understand, and I wish someone would ask, and I don't know if this is a question for after a game or if it's a question for after a season ends or whatever, but like the question needs to be asked to Boone and to Cashman. You guys have made XYZ mistakes more than anyone in the league, or top 10%, whatever it is. What are you doing to change that? Because I don't see what they're doing to change it, because it's not changing. It's not 1 year. It's not 2 years. It's 7 years of mistakes.
Yeah. So you add that to the way that the organization plays baseball too. Maybe this is a good time to talk about that Friday game when they Crochet is basically shoving the entire game, strikes out Judge 3 times, then has the opportunity, the backs are against the wall, the Judge is up, Crochet still out there trying to get the complete game, launches one over the monster. I mean, amazing. It was we were watching awesome. It. I had stayed up late to watch the end of that. Amazing. It was just like an awesome moment. And at that point, you're like, okay, all right, here we go. Even if you don't get it here, there's momentum to get something going. Get through the 9th, get into the 10th inning. You have a runner on. And what do the Yankees do? What do the Yankees do? What is the organizational decision? What is the organizational philosophy around having a runner, a ghost runner, but it's not a real ghost runner, the fake runner on second base, the clown show, as Michael Kay calls it, the runner on second base? Do they play small ball and move him over? Do they try to lift the ball up to the right side and get an out? Do they bunt? There's multiple things that you can do to play small ball, to advance that runner, to have a runner on third base with less than 2 outs. Because at the end of the day, that's the goal, right? You want to, if there's a runner on second and you have an opportunity to get that runner to third base, you need to do it with less than 2 outs. Therefore, they can score on a play that's not a hit, a play that just, gets the run in. And they don't do that. They choose not to do that. And one of the reasons why they choose not to do that, and they say this out loud to people in microphones and to each other, is that we need to play for more runs. We need to play for more runs. And usually it's obviously they're the visiting team at that point, because they know that the other team has the opportunity to then have the bat in their hands with a runner on second base. But here's my massive problem with this entire thing. First of all, trying to play for more runs in that situation can be done in more than one way. Okay. You have 0 outs. If you advance that runner to third base, this is where to me, the whole argument completely breaks down. When you have a runner on second base with no outs, you have an opportunity to advance that runner to third base. You could still play for more than one run at that point.
Because the infield's probably going to come in.
Infield's in.
Anything can get through the infield.
Yes.
You've got pressure on the other team. They're like, we can't give up this right. So there's so many opportunities to put pressure on the other team.
In fact, the defense is playing in a better spot for you as an offense because they're in. The outfield defense is probably a little different as well. Maybe a little more shallow as well to try to cut the runner off at home plate. There's actually more opportunities now for your batter to find an open gap in the field to then get on base and potentially extend that inning and go for more runs. But when you choose to just not do it and you choose to hit away every single time, and you're just like, this is it. We're going to play for more runs. That runner on second. We don't prioritize getting that one run because the other team is going to have that as well. This is a 1-0 game going into the 9th inning. Right. Your pitching staff on both sides of the ball have been dominant. Both sides have been dominant. There have not been more than 1 run scored in 9 innings. Are you telling me that in this particular game, just this one separated, that's still the case that the other team is going to play for more runs and you can't get that first run across to get that lead and then, advance the ball again. If they tie it up and you go to the next one, you live another frame. It's just such a flaw to me because they're missing out on massive opportunities. And when you have a team that strikes out as much as this team, you can't just continue to do that. The odds are not in your favor.
Well, how about throw in the fact that they have the worst record in Major League Baseball in road extra inning games dating back to 2020, which is when the Ghost Runner was implemented. So clearly their philosophy does not translate to wins. So how about change it? 1 run in that game, like you said, it was a 1-0 game in the 9th, a 2-1 game in extra innings. 1 run is hugely significant. We're not talking about a 10-9 blowout, offense is going wild here. Like that run is massive. It is an analytical decision across not just baseball, across all sports. You see it in the NBA where teams are just launching 3-pointers because the analytics say you take enough threes, you're going to score more points than trying to score in 2. That ignores game situations. That ignores defensive situations. That ignores how much time is left on the clock. In football, But
that analogy also, that analogy doesn't work all the time because that analogy is a lot more useful in the basketball sense when you're looking at the personnel, where the personnel have an opportunity to shoot the 3 a hell of a lot more than they have in previous eras. Whereas in baseball, it's actually the opposite. They're striking out now more than they ever have. So the philosophy actually in baseball is different because of the personnel.
I bet you the analysts would argue because strikeouts are so much more prevalent, getting a guy to third base is not as valuable because guys don't put bat on ball. They don't execute. They're probably going to strike out anyway. So you're better off trying to get 2 singles or a single. You're better off trying to have 2 or 3 guys get a hit than 1 guy get a sac fly.
I think they're just waiting for the home run.
You're probably right. They're just like, oh, we got to score a home run here. Or in football, when you see all these F the field goal. We're going for it on 4th and 5 or whatever from the 35-yard line. It's like, okay, maybe over the course of a season that might net out in points, but right now it's the 4th quarter and you need to take the lead or else you're going to lose, right? It's like there's situations where you have to kind of throw out the long-term analytics and say, what is this baseball game in the 10th inning telling me to do right now?
What is the living, breathing reaction to this particular game? Also, personnel matters. It does. You need to understand who your players are and what they're good at. And if they're not good at particular things, then you need to make adjustments. But to be able to advance a runner, and I know you get Volpe going for the steal, and because his hand wasn't in the right spot, he got thrown out at third base, and you're looking at now an opportunity where there are 0 runners on, and you're starting over with 1 out.
Dominguez was up next, and then you had that play with LeMahieu where was that ball fair or foul?
Yeah.
At that point, there was nobody on base, so probably wouldn't have mattered anyway. It's so frustrating because the organizational philosophy is not let's just play for this run. It's not let's coach these guys to not make outs on the bases. Let's not coach these guys. Let's not coach these guys to keep your head in the game and focus on, you got to know what the count is, Jason Dominguez. You can't forget how many outs there are. Like what are the repercussions? What is the accountability here? Like it's just,
that one, look, I don't know what else to say besides Jason Dominguez just lost focus. And you're right. There was a Gleyber Torres-esque moment in that particular situation. He's a young player. I don't know. He clearly just screwed up. You know what I mean? Like at that point, I'm not going to kill him. He screwed up. It's a bad move. He should know that. And if it ever happens again, like shame on him. The Volpe stealing. When you look at that play and you're looking at the percentages of that play, I guess I have a hard time believing that the percentages are saying that Volpe stealing third base when he's not stealing bags this year. They're not sending him. And it's not like he's out there making his own decisions. They're telling him what to do. He's hopping around and he's not stealing bags. So in that particular instance, you better damn well be safe. Like you better damn well know that you have that bag. And honestly, if I'm on that team, I want that decision to go or not to go actually to be on the player, because if the player believes they have an edge in some capacity, if they believe they have a tell on the way that the pitcher is delivering the ball and they know that they can get that bag, that's the moment where you let baseball players be baseball players and steal the bag and take the bag because it's given to you. You found something in the game that gives you an edge and you have a strong conviction that you can get there. But this was probably just a sign that says, hey, steal. And in that case, Volpe's not doing that.
He might, no, I bet they have told their players, you have the green light to steal in extra innings to try and get over to third base.
I don't think so. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Just Mike, this is me.
Not literally, probably not everybody.
There's
right?
so many things that are scripted. Volpe doesn't steal. Like he should be stealing 30 bags a year. He should be a 30-30 guy. Not 30-30. He should be hitting doubles and he should be stealing bags. Sorry.
He's not gonna hit 30 home runs.
Fixing up my Dominguez bold prediction. Like he should.
So the thing with Volpe, so Boone's quote after the game is also telling. He didn't say, we can't make that out there at third base. He said he would have been safe if not for his slide. And what that is saying, the message that is sending is, you made the right decision. We just got unlucky.
But again, if it came from the dugout, it's not even his decision. If it came from
no, not you. I'm saying we made the right decision. That was the right. What he's saying is it was the right decision to send him there. Yeah. We just got unlucky with the slide. We can't be making an out at third base in the first out at third base in the 10th inning. Look, that's baseball. That's baseball 101.
There's so much discrepancy now and so much room for discrepancy when you're sliding into a bag. I mean, the other day, was it last week when Jazz overslid the bag? And like this one bothered me because it's against like
you want replay. That's what you're going to get.
I understand
guy's toenail off the bag or not. It's like,
and when you're sliding over, if your body's on it and it lifts up for like just a tenth of a second, whereas you can't see that with the naked eye and it's seen on camera and you can still shot it, you're out. Yeah, I get it. Like I know that's what happens.
You want replay? That's what you're
going to do. Against the nature of the rule, but I understand it. There's going to be discrepancies in this case. Volpe, by the naked eye, looks like he's safe. His hand is in there, but the fingers were over the bag. You can't see that as an umpire. One umpire, nobody could see that.
Hovering over, yeah.
Yeah. So I understand that there's pieces like that, but the fact is you didn't need to do it. It was an unnecessary move at that point because you should be able to get that runner over the third with less than 2 outs. And now you have an opportunity to score that run via the home run, via the double, via a single, via a fly ball, a hard ground ball somewhere. You have multiple opportunities to now score that run with 1 out. You can still play for the bigger inning. You don't need to just lift the ball to the outfield just to get the run in if you don't want to. You have more opportunities to be aggressive at that point, but you have a runner on third.
And the thing that kind of blows me away is, okay, that mistake happens. Volpe's out at third on Friday. Dominguez gets picked off on Saturday. Don't you think the players on Sunday would be on high alert? Like, no way I'm making it out on the bases today. Yeah, and they still made the mistake. Like, I don't know how human nature for Ben Rice doesn't take over there. And he's just going to be extra careful about not making literally the same mistake the next day. How does that happen? How are the players not more aware? How is there not more awareness there by Ben Rice to be like, I'm not going to get picked off here?
Yeah, I don't know, especially game situation, understanding that all of these games were tight games and literally every run matters. And it's not like they don't know that Judge is struggling right now. They all know it. They all know that something is off because he wasn't swinging at balls that he's been swinging at. He's certainly not swinging through them. He's not trying to pull ball, breaking balls on the outside of the plate which he did when he had the opportunity and grounded into a double play. Like that is not a ball. Judge either spits on that ball because he doesn't want to hit it at that point, depending on the count, or he's hitting it to the right side of the field. And he's hitting it a long way. He's not trying to pull that ball. And when he does, you get a ground ball. Obviously, he's off. And they all know that. So that means they all know that they all have to pick up their spots. They all have to make sure that they're taking advantage of every opportunity at this point. So yes, you need to be hyper aware of where you are in the game, hyper aware of the situation, and understand that you as a runner are extremely important on the base path, and you can't get yourself out.
They're not hyper aware. They're not mentally hyper aware. I can't put my finger on it what they are, but they're just not a well-coached team.
Yeah.
They're just not.
Well, I mean, that's just a broken record.
It's
how we felt for a very long time.
Broken record. Yeah. If you're a small business owner, you do not have the luxury of clocking out early because your business is on your mind 24/7. When you're hiring, you also need a partner that grinds just as hard as you do. And that's why that hiring partner should be LinkedIn Jobs. You post your job on LinkedIn. You can also use their feature that helps you write job descriptions quickly so you can get it in front of the right people. Either post it for free or pay to promote it, but just know that paying to promote the jobs gets you 3 times more qualified applications. Getting those qualified candidates is the most important thing. Based on LinkedIn data, 72% of small to medium-sized businesses using LinkedIn say it helps them find the right high-quality candidates. And you can share with your network, which you've already built up on LinkedIn, by adding the hiring frame to your profile picture to get even more qualified candidates. I've said this before, but the first place anyone who's looking for a new job is going to go is LinkedIn, where they have all of their connections and everything. So you should be posting your jobs on LinkedIn as the first place. You can get very qualified candidates super fast. We did it with Blue Wire last year. We posted in the morning. By 4 o'clock that afternoon, we were reviewing high quality candidates. Find out why more than 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring today. Find your next great hire on LinkedIn. Go post your job for free at linkedin.com/Bronx, linkedin.com/Bronx to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
I just thought of something. Wasn't last year? It's reversed. I'm reversed. It's so weird doing a reverse thing. I saw Greg Bird over my shoulder and I forgot he was there. Wasn't he with the organization again last year? Or was that 2 years ago? Like remember he showed up in the minor leagues at one point?
Greg Bird?
Yeah. Didn't he?
I don't remember.
I think he did.
I thought he was playing in like the Mexican league or something.
I know, but I think at one point he was back in the organization at some point.
Why?
Well, just renewed hope.
Anything else you want to crush them for fundamentals, or should we move on to some other things that happened and didn't happen this weekend?
Yeah, let's move on to other things, because fundamentals we could go for a very long time. Unfortunately, it's just it's one of those things. How about DJ getting thrown out of that game though? That's you stupid head, you jerk. Like, what did he say to that umpire? Nothing, right? Like he just barked at him in some capacity, but there was nothing bad. Like that guy doesn't even swear. He doesn't swear.
I think that's also a bit of frustration on LeMahieu, knowing like we've already squandered this inning and now that ball seemingly hit the line and we're getting screwed on this as well. Yeah. And we're already struggling so much as an offense. We can't get anything going. And now you kind of took a hit away from me. I mean, that's another one of those replay things where, okay, it's called foul on the field. Gun to my head, I guess I'm saying that nipped the line, the edge of the line, but then you slow it down and you blow it up to 1 million frames. It's like, okay, maybe it didn't hit the line. It's like, What are we doing here?
So they brought up something that I thought was really interesting, talking about that play. When it was being reviewed, they were saying something along the lines of when a replay goes to New York, not telling the replay person what the call on the field was, and just letting them.
They're not going to know that though.
I mean, they're not watching the games; they're just looking at replays as they come in, right? So you put them in a soundproof booth, you put them in an isolation chamber, and you say, "You look at this play and you tell me what happened." Okay, you have all the angles of the zoom. You can do whatever you want, and you have all the opportunities. But yeah, that's interesting, because I agree. Just get the play right. Whatever the replay says, do that instead of making the adjustment on the field. Now I understand there's other things that happen on the field. Like if for there was a one of those Grisham balls that he caught the other day. They had put the runner back on second base.
Yeah.
But they, if DJ makes that throw or makes that pick from Grisham, he's out. So there's discretionary things that have to happen based on that. But I do like that. I think that makes sense because then you're getting to the root of what does the replay say? Does the replay give you just make the right call, whatever you believe the right call is from looking at all the angles, and that's it, no matter what.
And you shouldn't be able to get the answer of not enough evidence to overturn. That's not an answer. Tell me, was it fair or foul? Was it gone or not? Like, what?
Make a decision. You have to make. You're now the umpire. You make a decision.
It is an umpiring crew, though, right? It's not some independent party reviewing.
I don't know if it's like one person or a number of people that are in New York that are looking at that, but yeah, it's either way, it doesn't matter, right? Just like isolate them and have them make that decision. Don't have an even amount of people where there can be a tie.
3-person committee.
3-person committee minimum.
So Rodon needed to bounce back, obviously, against facing the Red Sox for the second time. He was better than he was in the start at Yankee Stadium, but he still only got through 5+ innings, 7 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 total runs. He was grinding. Every single pitch was like labor intensive, it felt like.
Yeah. I mean, I know you wanted to see him come back and actually shove against a team like the Red Sox, who do have a good offense, and he did not do that.
Shove against the Red Sox like you shove against the Angels. Oh, it's harder to do? Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, Fenway Park also much more difficult task, obviously. But yeah,
look at Max Fried though.
Max Fried didn't. He did his job.
He wasn't great though.
Nobody
did his job.
Yes,
right. He wasn't great, but he did his job. He got a lot of double play balls, which got him out of a lot of situations. They're lucky they got the double play in the first inning after Volpe makes that error, or else that's probably 3 runs in the first inning, and that could have been a whole lot of a big different outing for him. But he grinded. He was giving up base runners, but he grinded and he got double plays when he needed them.
Yeah.
That's not what Rodon did. And so that's why I know Rodon has been excellent and everyone wants to say, oh, this is the guy we acquired and everything like that. I still see the true pitcher that he is in there. Yes, you're going to go shove against the Rockies. You're going to go shove against the Angels. He's facing the Angels this week. He's probably going to strike out 11 in 7 innings this week against the Angels. That does absolutely nothing for me. When the Yankees outscore Anaheim this week in 4 games, 40-12, I don't care about that.
Yeah, I know. You need to see it against these guys. I mean, he 7 hits, right? He gave up 7 hits. Like that's
7
a
hits
lot
in 5 innings.
That's a lot of base runners. And when you have a lot of base runners, bad things are going to happen. Obviously, this team, the majority of them can hit. See, the thing about the Red Sox that scares me a little bit, and I guess I'm a little less scared now that they got rid of Rafi Devers, which is just an insane thing. Like the way that I can't believe it got to that point where they traded him for what they got to Jordan Hicks and someone else and some minor leaguers.
You know what the crazy thing is? The Yankees just got swept by a team that was so obviously dysfunctional from the inside. They had to trade away their best player who signed a 10-year contract 2 years ago.
But they waited to play the Yankees because they know
just so he could hit one more home run against these guys, and then we're going to trade him. Because obviously that trade doesn't happen in an hour and a half after the game. That trade is being discussed for days and days and days. They're shopping Devers around. So that team got to the point where they decided Devers on this team is not salvageable. He's refusing to play the field. He is probably eating this clubhouse from the inside out. And they still swept the Yankees this weekend.
Yeah. This team, though, so what I was going to say is this team is obviously one of the reasons they did that is because they have a ton of position players now with all the guys that they've brought up. Yeah. Multiple outfielders. They're all very high prospects. They're all struggling right now, the guys that have come up. But when it clicks, all these guys coming up together scares me a bit. It really does. Yeah, they have like a massive amount of talent right now that's very young that's coming up. It's not just like a little bit of talent. It's like top 10, number 1. I think Meyer was a number 6 in the league. Like these guys are.
Roman Anthony was the number 1
massively
MLB
top
prospect.
Yeah. Yes. And so they're coming up with massive expectations, massive talent, and they're going to be around for a very long time. So when these guys decide to when they when they see enough pitches where it's not completely unique to them and they're able to start hitting, they're going to be a real problem. And when they have a guy named like Garrett Crochet, who's bolstering and leading that rotation, it's a problem, man. It's a real problem. They're going to be good. And I have a feeling the Red Sox are going to be around at the end of the season, right there at the top, battling for the division.
Yeah, I mean, the Yankees are falling back and the Red Sox now are over 500. This is it's interesting, right? Because if the Devers trade didn't happen, you'd say, okay, we're coming off a sweep of the Yankees. We just took 5 out of 6 from the Yankees. That could send them on their way right there. It'll be interesting to see how the team reacts to this trade, because from the outside looking in, it's like, well, you just swept the Yankees, but you just traded your best offensive player. So like,
but
what's
also
going on here?
Again, like, you have a guy who's a bit of a cancer in the clubhouse per se. It's like,
seemingly,
remember all the comments that happened after Donaldson got was he traded or whenever he was not on the Blue Jays, like everybody was just eviscerating the guy, like saying that it was just a terrible,
you think that's
terrible clubhouse? That's possible. Yeah. There were a lot of young guys there that were like, yeah, this was not the way that it was supposed to go. So when they left, it was a lot more like, you're able to breathe, you're able to do things. There's not this cloud over you. It's just go out there and play baseball. And unfortunately, when you're playing baseball loose and you have talent, good things will happen. And that's again, like that, there's a loose clubhouse probably up there. And again, I've said this, I have a lot of respect for Cora. I think he's one of the better managers in the game. And when you sprinkle in a bunch of young, talented dudes with that guy managing, that's for the other teams. I think it's a problem. It's a real problem, because he's going to get those guys to play eventually.
Blue Jays have been one of the hottest teams in the league. They fired their manager and kind of took off. So,
oh yeah, it's like when you when you have talent and then there's just a little bit of a change, maybe a new voice, maybe some
kick in the ass,
different motivation, then you can get players to play a little differently, huh? Maybe.
Yeah, it's just the same old tired stuff from Boone. Sure, they liked the aggressiveness, trying to get over to third base. He thought Rodon was sharp, just got unlucky, just beat a bit.
Unlucky. 4 runs across the entire series. I think that's the lowest runs that they've had in some ridiculous amount of time. They said it during the broadcast last
Go back to the last game in Kansas City where they scored 1 run.
Yeah. So, and Judge sat that day. So do you think that Judge was in that last game for Boone? He saw something, just like, fatigue. There was some kind of just setting in, or it was just like an off day.
Probably a scheduled off day where it was like, we're going to play Boston this weekend. You've played every single day. You're just going to get an off day before we travel.
And you know what? Like, it makes sense. That's a good day probably to have an off day. You taking
the last game in Kansas City. I'd rather have him sit that than and be fresh for 3 games in Boston.
Yeah. Well,
it was the strikeouts that are alarming, because Judge has really improved on his strikeouts. Like, he's not a guy that strikes out a lot anymore. And he looked like 2017 version of Judge, where he was completely fooled.
It was more April of 2024.
Okay, but you know what I mean, where it's like,
I saw a rebound from there. That's fine.
When's the last time we saw him strike out this much in such a condensed time?
Yeah,
he came into the series hitting 391, I think, and he's hitting 378. So it's like, that was a really bad weekend. Yes, he hit the home run. Yes, that was fun. Watching that ball disappear over the monster was fun.
It was awesome. That was especially against Crochet, when he knew they were just talking about it. Don't leave the ball low in the zone for
he was getting beat on high fastballs.
He was getting beat on high fastballs. He was getting beat again, like that, breaking stuff away. When you start seeing him flail at that, something is wrong. Something is off, because that was one of his biggest weaknesses coming up, and he got rid of it. He got rid of it pretty much entirely, and most of it is because seeing the ball so damn well. And that's something that he's been able to do. Look, I think he's going to bounce back. And I think this team, the problem that's around this though, is the fact that the team is not able to hit when he's not there and pick him up. So maybe a guy like Stanton, who's coming back for this series, is going to be a massive deal to get them another power right-hand bat, and to give more thump in that lineup. That's more consistent, but we'll see.
Well, they're coming home for Anaheim and Baltimore, and then on the road for Cincinnati, and then back home for the Athletics. Like, that's a pretty nice stretch to try and rebound here.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot, especially for offenses. Like, there's not a lot of good pitching in those names that you just said. So they should be absolutely tearing the cover off the ball.
Yep. All right. Well, anything else you want to talk about? Maybe a bit of a shorter episode, just the one series to talk about.
Yeah, today's a little shorter. No, I think we hit it. We'll be back on next Monday. Just spoke with you on Thursday, and yeah, hopefully the Yankees can come back. But you're not going to think anything positive from it, are you?
I mean,
what are you looking for? What will give you anything from when you see these next series?
I already know they can beat the Angels. I already know they can beat bad teams. I already know they can win games 10-2 against bad pitching staffs. So like, yeah, I want them to win this week, and they probably will because they're not a bad team. But I just think everyone needs to understand that they're also not a great team, and they're kind of just lumped in with all the other kind of good, kind of mediocre American League teams. And they certainly don't match up against the elite of the elite in Major League Baseball.
Not that we've seen. What do you think? I got one more question for you. What do you think Hunter Dobbins' dad? What were those conversations yesterday on Father's Day? For Dobbins' dad, because clearly this kid's got a ton of talent. He's coming in throwing high 90s. I mean, everybody throws high 90s, but he's got a repertoire to match it. Yankees have a hard time against him. But dad got caught in an all-time lie. I mean, do you just like, is that under the bridge at that point on Father's Day? You're just celebrating the fact that you got your kid to thanks dad for getting me to the major leagues. Like, you did all the things, you got me there. You were probably good at baseball, but maybe not as good as you said you were. and then you just didn't expect me to become a major league pitcher in this Yankees Red Sox rivalry. So that he needed specifically asking me about this situation.
I know we talked about this last week, but the dad, once his kid's on the Red Sox, that's when you need to come clean about.
You got to say it. You got to be like, look, kid, I know your entire life I've built. I'm glad you hate the Yankees. This is what I really wanted you to do, because I don't like the Yankees. But you need to understand that the heart of that story is completely wrong. I was never drafted by the New York Yankees. This is a lie. They were the Oneonta Yankees. So wherever they played before, it was an independent team. That was a team that wasn't independent. But yeah, and the Angels part, also not true. Like, none of it was true.
Diamondbacks.
Yeah, Diamondbacks, right? Yeah, Diamondbacks actually not even a team yet. So apologies for the lies, but look where you are. Focus on the now.
Right. You don't let it get as far as you. So that's the dad. That's all on the dad.
Yeah. Bill in the comments is like, maybe you could have told me before I spoke to the media. That would have been a good time. That would have been a good time to come clean, knowing that he's going to get drilled by the New York media after he says the reason why I'm not playing for the Yankees is because my father was drafted. Something that you can clearly look up very easily. It's not like this was before recorded history.
Happened in the 90s.
Yeah.
In fact, the same general manager is still managing the Yankees. Like, the guy, you could just ask the guy, hey, did you draft this player? Let me go check my records. No,
he was interning doing the notes for the draft. Okay. So it's like,
no, he was the general manager. It was 1997. That's how old we are, by the way.
Yeah.
The dad got drafted in 1997, or claimed he got drafted in 1997. We're not talking about like the 70s. Like, we're very old now, Scott.
He's legitimately my age.
We just talked about this before we started recording. Your back is hurting. My back is hurting.
Back is killing me.
I'm turning 37 years old this week.
Yeah. Yeah. How about we just not make base running errors? Okay. All right.
Don't do that.
Because I can do that. I can get out there and not make base running errors. I promise.
Yeah.
All
right. Can't run, but
mop up the teams you need to mop up and get better, for God's sakes.
We'll talk to you guys again next Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern.